What do I know? What can I say? Yeah, we all
Congratulations to the
hey
New York Knicks.
we all said Knicks in six. No one believed, not even myself. They fucking did it.
That's right.
I they fucking did it. Look, I it's where's my thing? I have a thing here. I don't know where it is, but it's 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 funny because like nobody understands how much basketball means like to the city of New York unless you live in New York, and nobody really understands like just how much the Knicks mean to the city. And in my Lewis, your generation, it's the first time they made it past the second round, and we're treating it like they just won the NBA championship. That's just how much this means to them. It's one of the most greatest spectacles that they literally shut down the busiest avenue in New York for hours. Hours. No other team in this city will ever do that. And they're going to keep doing it till to the end of times. This has become the tradition of the Knicks. It's just it's such a like a special moment in time that we're living in. And I think in terms of the series itself, like you saw a lot of what this team represents and a lot of what this team does really well, which is they play really good defense, they score a lot of enough points, and they're able to, when it comes to the fourth quarter, be very clutch and put it in the hands of Jalen Brunson to just win the basketball game. And that's all they need to do. And, you're going to hear the argument a tons of times about, oh, but if Tatum didn't get hurt, if Brown wasn't fully healthy, there's a problem with Porzingis. Nobody cried for the Knicks last year, is my always going to be my response. When Jalen Brunson got hurt, when Anunoby was playing on one leg, when Josh Hart was gassed, when Julius Randle was hurt, nobody cried for this Knicks team. But they went out and they still performed to their expectations, and they almost beat the Pacers in seven. So in that regard, I'm super proud of this Knicks team. It is one of the best teams of this generation, and they beat the defending champs of Boston Celtics, where nobody, and I mean nobody outside of New York, gave them a fair chance. And after the game two in Boston, you really felt it in the city and on that court that the Knicks could come away and win the series, and they did. So that was just the series itself was an absolute masterclass by the Knicks, and it was super super fun to watch and be a part of, and it really regains my belief in basketball and the NBA and how much I do love it because I was really starting to fall out of love with it this year. But after what the Knicks have done, showing how they play and what they do, I'm just right back in the saddle. Like they're just hook, line, and sinker, just bringing me back in. Even though I want to pull away, I can't. That's how special this Knicks team is.
Yeah, I mean, when I was watching the the games, and I'm just seeing when it's time to come up clutch and when it's time to hit a big bucket, they could do that. When it's time to really press on defense, they could do that. Right? You got Josh Hart, Anunoby, and Mikal Bridges all playing their hearts out on defense, right? And you got guys like Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench, right? And he's playing real critical minutes, being that enforcer not only in the paint but also on the perimeter, right? We saw him being able to switch out on guys like Tatum and Brown. And listen, it's you're not gonna like stop Jason Tatum going to the rim, but at least force him into help, which
Yeah,
caused, I think that was game one or game two, which caused the block from Mikal Bridges, right? So
yeah,
it's one of those things where the Knicks, they listen, like Celtics are damn good. They're the champions for a reason. They score a lot, hit a lot of threes, and they play pretty fucking solid defense, right? So going into this matchup, it was very hard for me at least to see them coming out with like wins back to back because the Boston Celtics are just that damn good, right? I think it's a testament to Boston, not even a knock on the Knicks, because the Knicks are a good team, but the Celtics are damn good, right? And then
mhm,
after that game one, the energy was shifting. I'm like, ooh, they took that, right? They came back down from 20 points. Then game two, they did the exact same thing, and I'm like, ooh, when the Knicks are hitting their threes, they're matching the other team in scoring, and they play that ferocious style of defense that, listen, not many teams could play besides Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
And when they press on defense and when they have that mentality on defense, not just offense, they are very, very tough to beat. And the starters are going to play. The stars are going to be out on the court. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even feel like they get tired, right? Like they take like 2-3 minutes of break and boom, they're right back on you. And
And
it was just a lovely thing to watch, the whole series from the Knicks. And Jalen Brunson did his thing. Cat did his thing. Mikal Bridges did his thing. OG did his thing on defense. Just the whole entire players who were playing did their thing, and I can't be more proud. And as a New Yorker, seeing a New York team be there is just wonderful. So hats off to the Knicks. Hats off.
I was leaving work the other night, and this was not the game, not the one that ended the series, but the one like 2 days before then. And it was mayhem in front of MSG. Like, it was claustrophobic for one, because you can easily get fucking stampeded on out there. It was amazing though. It was like, it's hard to find a bunch of New Yorkers happy at the same time at once in one place. So it was very loud. It was definitely magnetic, definitely. And cops were out there. They were celebrating too. It really was like united thing. And yeah, we haven't had this in a long, long time coming from this team. But it seems like, they're finally making the turn. This could be a run for like, hopefully maybe the next decade of like competitiveness. No more, especially now that, other teams, LeBron's leaving soon. All these other big people are aging out. Like, this is time for the Knicks to reclaim. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Jalen Brunson, I feel like, is now, if they go to the finals, right? Which first they got to get through the Pacers, but if they go to the finals, I think Jalen Brunson deserves a statue, right?
He's gonna live forever. He's gonna be an icon in the city forever.
If they win the finals, call it
That's it.
Jalen Brunson
We're gonna
Garden.
rename
Like,
the city.
we're making him president. Understand that. We're making like
He's gonna be mayor. He's gonna be mayor.
We're making him mayor, president, governor, police commissioner, FDNY commissioner, sanitation commissioner, MTA, whatever he wants. He'll get everything, and we'll all say
he'll get that
whatever he says.
what do you call it? That Kawhi treatment when they tried to like influence him to stay in Toronto. They were like, "Oh, you could eat here for free. You could do this for free. You could literally just walk around butt naked and nobody will say a thing because you're Jalen Brunson, right?" So I would love to see that kind of treatment for Jalen Brunson.
He'd be an icon forever.
Oh, 100%. I think he's already an icon.
Yeah, he already is. I mean, just what he's done the past 5 years and how he took that pay cut to allow other players to come in here. Nobody does that in the NBA. When have you ever heard of a player taking $1 million off the table so that other players can come here? Nobody does that anymore. Everyone's signing $300 million contracts, supermaxes, getting what they should probably get. But he was like, "No, I don't need that much. I want to build this team so we can win for the future," and he did that. There's nobody in the NBA who's done that or even thinks like that right now. If that doesn't win you over as a fan base, I don't know what to tell you. And he drops 40 points a night. So I don't know what else you want him to do.
That's right. And now they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. They're playing what seems to be like the most apropos team that they could play, the Pacers. Right? There's a long lineage of history.
I think they could beat them.
They got a real damn good shot. Like, when it comes to like facing the Celtics, right? There's like, Celtics, Knicks. When it comes to facing the Pacers, I get it. They're like a good team. I like the Knicks more in that series, man. And that's what I want to see from the Knicks. I want to see them just take control early because they can score, right? And we've seen Indiana's defense, kind of pick up during this playoffs. And the way they just kind of shut down the Cavaliers with their defense and then relentless scoring, was very impressive, even though I wasn't too high on Cleveland. But I think the Knicks are just a different beast. I think Tyrese Halliburton, he could play good defense, but Jalen Brunson's going to get to his spot. It doesn't matter what you're doing, right? He's going to kick out to find open shooters. And when you're tired, as the Indiana Pacers, these guys are conditioned to play 40 minutes since game one of the regular season. These guys aren't going to be tired. They're going to be in your face all game. And if they just match you with threes, the Knicks could easily win this series in 5. I truly believe
Well, the Pacers had a nice little break, so maybe we better hope that they get tired.
that.
We gotta fucking hope that the Knicks fucking just wear them out.
This is
Make
going
them
to be
run for
the
their life.
this is going to be the running theme of the podcast. You two are going to be so hopeful, and I'm just going to be so pessimistic the entire time. Uh, Look, I don't disagree with your points, but what makes Indiana so good is that they could run for 60 minutes and not get gassed, and they basically ran Cleveland off the court, right? That's what they did. They outgassed them, they out-hustled them, and they could just score at ease and at will. They could drop 140 every night, no problem. Are they going to do that against this Knicks team? No, probably not. Is this Knicks team probably best geared to defend them? They are. Can this Knicks team outscore them? I don't think so. I don't think this Knicks team can do that. They're just not consistent enough. I know every game Indiana will score 110, 120 points easily. Can I say that for the Knicks? Maybe. That's going to be the true test, is how much can they put up offensively from the Knicks to beat Indiana. Because I do believe that this team will not be outgassed. I just need them to hit their shots, right? And I think when you look at the series last year, what you saw was a lot of instances when the Knicks just could not get any buckets and just could not get the basket. They could not score when they needed to. And I think what you see now is that they added Mikal Bridges, who can now knock down an open three. They have Karl-Anthony Towns, who can now score at will. So you have more scorers now. And I think the main thing, why I am more hopeful than I am what I was against Boston, is that this Knicks team is healthy for the first time in any of the playoff instances. They're healthy. OG's healthy, Mikal's healthy, Towns is healthy, Mitch is healthy, Brunson's healthy. That's the best thing that could happen for this team, is that they did not get injured during the Celtics series or the Detroit series. So that brings me a little bit more confidence. I do worry about Indiana scoring. That's kind of what gets me here. And the fact that they have momentum and that they are still a really good team. Halliburton's a really good point guard and a really elite scorer. They could easily knock down any three they want to, and the Knicks just love giving up wide open threes. It's gonna be an interesting test. It's gonna be a big test on their durability and their stamina. But I think what you saw in the Celtics series and what you saw last year and what you've seen throughout the year is Tom Thibodeau runs these guys out there for series and games like these. So they are conditioned to go 45 minutes and play their best basketball every time, every game. That's just how they are. So I'm not really worried about that, but the scoring threat and the scoring output is what worries me from the Knicks, because I've seen this team score 120 points and I've seen them score 60. And when you're playing a team like Indiana, you cannot allow them to get too far ahead, because they'll keep pouring it on, and they will make their shots. This isn't going to be like Boston where they're going to take a wide open three. They're not. Indiana will settle for twos. They'll get rebounds. They'll get 2-pointers. They'll get layups. They're very creative with their shots. They don't live and die by the three like Boston does. They will score on you, and they will score on the Knicks. The Knicks have to match their scoring output and their intensity throughout the entire series. So I want to be as hopeful as you guys. I do, but I do have that sense of dread always lingering around me. So,
Well, that's just the proper response from a paranoid fan.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's a proper response for a team that, it's been for the better part of the last, a long time disappointing. You don't get past the second round. Sometimes you don't get past the first one. Sometimes you don't even make it. So I mean, it's just trauma. It's PTSD that keeps you. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. We can. We can. I don't know. They can score. They can. That's all just like you got valid reasons to feel that way.
I mean, you know, I'm just saying the Knicks, they beat them in the season series in 3 games. I'm just saying, right? And they were putting up points. Like, these games are going to be very high scoring, and for good reason, because both offensives are that elite. And Tyrese Halliburton versus Jalen Brunson, that's the matchup I'm looking at. That if Jalen Brunson can get his way on offense and kind of limit, you're not going to stop any of these guys. None of these guys are going to be stopped because they're true superstars in the game. But if you could slightly limit that's what it comes down to when it's these playoff games. Just slightly. Ooh, he gets 6 assists instead of 10, right? Ooh, he gets 26 points instead of 32, right? Like, just these slight and he takes like 5 more field goals. He's like 7 for 21 instead of 13 for 21, right? These little things in playoff games matter a lot. That just being there, effort, putting a hand up on defense, right? And being active on offense, moving, cutting, being ready to shoot at any given moment, right? And being able to get to your spot. And I like Jalen Brunson for that reason in the matchup versus Tyrese, because Jalen Brunson on offense could kill you in so many ways. He can not only shoot the 3, but he could kind of bully you in the paint, even if you're taller than him. Like, he'll find a way to get his shot off, right? And it's very weird because he's 6'2", right? Not the fastest guy on the court, but he's super twitchy and he could get his shot off on anybody. So Jalen Brunson's, he's going to have to be the superstar that we're all claiming that he is and that we know that he is. And if he's able to outduel Tyrese Halliburton in these games, I feel like the Knicks just have a really good chance of beating the Pacers.
I'm gonna agree but slightly disagree with you. I do agree. I think Jalen Brunson needs to be a superstar in the series. I think him and Halliburton are gonna have a duel. I think where I'm gonna slightly disagree is that I feel like the most important piece of this Knicks team has to be Karl Anthony Towns, right? Because Miles Turner is a big man who can shoot a 3 very easily. And you saw in the Celtics series, sometimes Towns not up for that challenge, and some games he'll disappear. He cannot disappear at any point during the series because that'll be Indiana's window to come right back in. You need your second superstar, which that's what Karl Anthony Towns is, to be your second superstar. You need him to get 20 and 10 every game. You need him to be involved in every play. He won't struggle as defensively as I think he will as when he was with the Celtics series. I think he'll be better. I think the matchup's better for him. But he needs to be tough on the boards. He needs to get his own shot. He can't settle for threes. He has to be a dynamic weapon out there. Because this series is going to come down to who has a more dynamic offense. And when Towns is hitting his shots and being a threat, it opens the court up so much for everybody else that everybody just kind of flows into that. And that's what allows Brunson to kind of get his own shot and create his own rhythm when Towns is also in rhythm as well. So I think Towns, to me, is the most important part of this series. It's why you traded for him. It's why you gave up so much for him. It's why you put all your eggs in your basket for him, to be the difference maker and to be the secondary scorer that Brunson needs at his side to get over that hump. So I think for me, that's what's most important.
Yeah, I also agree. Like, when Karl Anthony Towns' 3 wasn't hitting against the Boston Celtics, he was able to drive to the paint, right? And put pressure on that defense in the paint. And it's very hard to stop Karl. He's 7 feet tall, 200 something plus pounds, right? He's a big boy, right? So it's very hard for you to just stop him without fouling him, right? Yeah, Dominican as well. There you go. That's my guy. And when he was slashing to the paint, he was getting good results out of that, right? When he was in the post, he was getting good results out of those shots, right? So I feel like he'll have to shoot the 3, obviously, But I feel like if he does it too much, it can probably be a hindrance against the Knicks, right? He needs to be able to score in the paint, in the post, mid-range, and occasionally for me, I at least from 3, right? Maybe like take like 4 attempts a game, you hit 2, boom. That's a great game from Karl Anthony Towns, but you're slashing to the paint, you're hitting your free throws, and you're just creating pressure on that defense to have to guard you, right? And to be able to move with you, right? And that could only create openings for other people because then, you bring 2, somebody's open, right? Maybe it's a Josh Hart for 3, or maybe it's a OG for 3, right? So all these things factor in, and I honestly, I'm so ready for this series. I'm so ready to watch it.
I'm not. I'm totally not. Okay, I'm just.
You need
I,
to have the time of your life, okay? You need to be having the time of your life.
That's right, Daniel. Don't run away from the pressure now, Daniel. Don't run away.
Yeah, don't run.
I gotta put the fan on because I'm getting hot already thinking about this fucking series.
So
Look, man,
on the Daniel scared meter, right, from 0 to 100, how scared are you?
0 to 100.
Mm-hmm.
Today's Monday. Series not for like 2 days. I would say right now I'm starting to get to like above 50. As we get closer to Wednesday, that's gonna start going up. If we start losing in the first quarter, I'm going up to 110. So I think like Friday I was fine, obviously. Saturday I was fine. Sunday I was fine. I really started feeling it today when I was doing like show prep and I started thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, they're really good offensively. Yeah, they can run a lot. Yeah, Halliburton's really good. Yeah, they got Miles Turner, who always seems to play his best basketball. He scores 50, turns into Michael Jordan whenever he plays us. Pascal Siakam's really good. Obi Toppin, for some reason, loves playing against the Knicks. Like, I just started naming random people, like Aaron Neesmith's going to go off.
Andrew Nemhard's going to find his way somehow into 30 points, right?
Tom Thibodeau will leave Brunson out for the whole game. His whole leg's going to come off. Like, these are scenarios I think of. Like, this, I prepare myself for the worst. Like, I have to.
Jess, tell Daniel it's going to be okay.
It's going to be all right, my friend. You got to be excited. You got to have faith. I mean, they surprised a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could be on a high. They could be on fire. This could be, way better than the Boston series. Be a lot. This can go all 7 games.
How would you?
And each one could be a nail biter.
Just why would you say that?
What?
You want me to go bald? Is that it? You want to see me bald? At 24, you want to see a bald?
I feel like if you're not gonna, if you think the Pacers are gonna be very, very, if you think it's in their favor, then you can only hope that it at least goes 7 games and that they don't get swept. You got to hope for at least to be as competitive as possible. You don't want them to get swept. You don't want that. I'd rather have them go 7.
Yeah,
that's a fair point.
For me, at least, like when they're guarding the Indiana Pacers, right? Like, who is gonna guard Halliburton all game? Who's guarding Pascal all game? Right? When I'm thinking about the defensive matchups, at least for the Knicks, is Mikal Bridges gonna be on Halliburton all game?
Yeah.
Is OG gonna have to be on Siakam all game?
Yep.
Josh Hart, I mean, they're probably going to rotate guys at Halliburton. That's how you keep them fresh, right? So it'll probably be Mikal Bridges for like a little stint, and then it's going to be OG, then it's going to be Josh Hart, right? I think that's kind of how they probably want to keep it, but I don't know, man. Thinking about the defensive matchups gets me scared.
I will not be surprised, and I don't think it's a bad idea if we see Mitchell Robinson coming off the bench first, just to guard Turner, and you put Cat on Siakam. And then OG would rotate to Halliburton. And Josh Hart would sit on the bench for a little while. I would not be opposed to that, and I don't think that's a terrible idea. The problem is that Mitchell Robinson and Karl Anthony Towns on the floor together, somebody's getting a foul called on them. That's just what's going to happen. So I don't think it's a bad idea if they do that kind of twin tower defensive style, but I don't know how long it would last.
Yeah, seeing Mitchell Robinson guard on the perimeter, right? He can, right? And he's, very agile for a guy his size, and he's real long with his arms. You don't want him there all the time, right? That's not where you want him. He could do it, but I don't want him on the perimeter necessarily guarding a Miles Turner who's going to be kicking out for threes and going to be pump faking. He could potentially drive to the lane, kick out to somebody else, right? These defensive matchups, this is what gets me scared, is watching the defense of the Knicks. Because will they be... Because I know that they can score offensively. We know this. But will they show up on defense ready to guard? We'll see. We'll see.
So we can only hope.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, if they win this series, I mean, hard.
Yeah. Official predictions. How we
okay.
feel. Daniel, Jess?
For game one?
No, for just how many, who's going to win and how many games you think they do it in?
Knicks in 7.
She's gonna kill me.
Knicks in 7.
She's gonna kill me.
Come on.
I'm gonna say
no, winner go home.
Knicks in 6.
It rhymes. Knicks in 6.
Ooh.
Look, all
Daniel's
I know
gonna ruin it. Okay.
All I know is Halliburton, shower curtain, leather Birkins, Knicks in 5.
Yeah, baby, let's go. Let's go.
Here you go. 5, 6, 7. Either way, they're taking it.
That's right. Yo, I'm scared though. Like when
I'm not crazy.
Son, when Karl Anthony Towns just shoots like a logo 3 in like the first 2 minutes, and then it's just a horrible brick, and then they give up like a transition, like easy layup, I'm gonna be like, oh, it's happening, because I'm having PTSD from the last what was it, last year's series where they played in Game 7, and the Pacers literally didn't miss a shot for like the whole first half of the first quarter. They did not miss one shot. Not even one.
I'm never gonna forget last year, Game 7. I was at a wedding, and I just remember getting to the wedding reception hall, and we got there late, and so they were doing the reception outside, and so we were inside waiting for the hors d'oeuvres and the pre-dinner, whatever the hell that's called, and all the guys just came in with a look of dejection on their face. They just sat through an hour reception that they did not want to be a part of. And then they came into the Knicks down by 30 in Game 7. And then for the next half an hour just proceeded to be miserable Knicks fans. All on our phones. All eating with our phones like this, just all standing around like this. We're just constantly going back and forth to the open bar. It was great.
Fantastic. Hey, misery enjoys company. So they needed a lot of company during that Game 7 right there. So
yes, they did.
Man, but shout out to the Knicks. Let's pray for good success. Let's hope for good success during this series.